Christopher Reeve here. We're talking with Joash and Brett, two IT heavy hitters fighters who actually fought each other on the night. Have you guys seen each other since then?
Well, we have briefly. Yeah, we've caught up briefly.
Yeah. What was it like to on the night to meet in the ring?
Scary, very, very scary. I think for me, it was. I underestimated how emotional it would have actually became. Knowing your family and your friends are out there waiting for you, and that pressure, and Joash and I had never met before, so you've got that anticipation and that nervousness, and then walking out. So it was only 30 meters, but it felt like 300 meters, and then climbing into the ring. And I don't know about you, Josh, but I got in that ring and it suddenly got really small. And you couldn't really see past the lights that are shining in your face. So you felt like a bit of a pea on a breadboard, quite exposed.
Is it the same for you?
Yeah, very similar. Just same as Brett, what he said. The number one thing for me was underestimating how emotional the roller coaster would have been. With the emotions, man, it's just like taking everything in. The pressures of like you said, the family and friends, but also like the cause. Then thinking about your training, and also just like your personal sort of like competitiveness, and so all of that was like bundled up. And then as soon as I got into the ring, it was like you said, it was just like, it was just me and her. I was like, hey bro, like, this is it, I guess we're knocking each other out, So yeah, it was a real crazy experience, first time for me in the ring. So yeah, but yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Did the punches in the ring hurt as much as you thought they would?
I think I felt it more after. Do you know what I mean? Like during was more like, I think there's just so much adrenaline going on. It was just like, and I felt like it just went like that, like ding ding, and then like ding ding, get off. Like I was like, oh, it's just like a blink and we were done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
3 rounds, real quick. Enjoying it. It was just like I felt like I was getting tussled around, and things were going. Then afterwards, it wasn't until it was like, yes, done. Then I was like, oh, but sore here, but sore here. So it was like more afterwards, for me. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I had a very stiff neck afterwards from some of the hammers Josh was throwing. But yeah, I think the adrenaline, you're being hit, but you don't feel the pain, if that makes sense. And you're right, that first round, and this came over the PA system saying 1 minute to go. I was like, crikey, it felt like 3 minutes already. But then, as you said, before you know it, all 3 rounds are wrapped up, and it's over. It's overwhelming because the whole journey, I don't know about you, Josh, but when I signed up, it was almost like it was a personal goal and a physical challenge. So it was a bit sort of selfish in a way. But as you began the journey of 14 weeks and meeting different guys and people from different walks of life, and then also starting to understand the greater cause a bit more, and then within a couple of weeks, it wasn't about me or it wasn't about us anymore. It was about this suicide awareness and that exposure. And the more you talk about it, the more you hear about it, and the more you understand how underestimated it is in New Zealand, and that it's not spoken about. And suddenly you feel, whether you willingly or unwillingly know it, you're becoming an ambassador for suicide awareness. And it's almost like the boxing is just a cherry on the top, because it really wasn't about the fight, it was about the journey for me. Initially it was about the fight. But I think I had in my mind, win or lose, we were both going to be winners, because we'd done the 14 weeks. We've between the two of us, I know we would have spoken to heaps of friends in our circle of influence, and we would have brought that message to the surface that much more than it would have been before. So to me, that was a big part of that emotional journey too. As I said, the more you talk about it, the more you hear stories and how it impacts people in their lives. And I found that quite significant. I personally went through a similar experience when I was about 15 at school. Got to a dark space and had suicide thoughts, and even wanted to go down that path, and had a good friend sort of talk me away from that darkness. And I'd forgotten about that. You know, I'd suppressed all those emotions, and I'd suppressed that whole experience. And this journey just sort of brought all those emotions to the surface. So it was like fighting those emotions on the day and fighting the emotions of fear and all of that combined. So, I mean, like Josh said, it's an experience that you can't even really put words to. And I think that's why we're sitting here today, because we're both still passionate about the cause.
Is that the same motivations for you signing up in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, like Brent, like, you know, which I'm happy to hear that, you know, he came out of the dark space, you know, like, same with me, early teens, I went through, you know, a sour patch, like the lollies. And yeah, like, you know, I was blessed and to sort of come out of it, and to see like the youth today sort of going, you know, like the stats and stuff are all there, it says it all. So it was funny for me because I've always, like Brett, it's like, it was funny, it's really similar. Like I suppressed it, those moments. I wasn't really happy with who it was back then, so I sort of did the whole like hid it somewhere in my mind. You know, it happened, but I hid it, and it just continued on with life. And then it was just a simple video that Dan Hooker put up on Instagram, just scrolling through as we do, and he was like holding his baby, and he was like, IT heavy hitters, you know, jump in the ring for this cause, you know, mental, you know, health and stuff like that. And I was just like, bro, this is awesome. Like, you know, it's cool. I've never been a fighter. I'm a lover, not a fighter. And, you know, never known to be a scrapper. So, like, it was funny when my family were like, you're doing what? And I was like, I'm jumping in the ring. They're like, man, you're going to get wasted, you know? But I'm just like, oh, okay, thanks for the support. Anyways, but yeah, like, I feel like that raised the awareness within my family, within, you know, my community. It was like, they're like, oh, Josh is doing this thing. Way random, like never been a fighter, but he's jumping in the ring and he's doing it. And the reason why I feel like I only, like, let's say, you know, excuse me, but had the balls to do it was because I felt like what I went through in the past was way worse. So I was like, what? This is nothing, you know. Yes, I might get in the ring and, you know, I might lose or even get knocked out, you know. But I sort of like didn't care. Like, you know, I was like, well, if I raise the awareness, then that's cool with me. You know what I mean? Like, all of that, I don't really care. So it was sort of like, I did don't get me wrong, I did the training, I was going 100%, you know, I came in and I tried to give 100% to Brett, you know, like, but at the same time, win or lose, I was just like, I didn't really care. All I cared about was like, cool, I'm doing my part to help, because the last thing I wanted was a kid out there to feel the same as I did when I was their age and feel like I couldn't speak about it. I didn't, you know what I mean? Like, couldn't, you know, didn't have help, or I felt like no one cared, you know, like. And I just want to say that, yeah, there are people out there, we like us, you know, we want to help, we do care and stuff like that. So, yeah, I felt like it was timing, like, you know, the universe was speaking. Like, Dan was like, come and join this fighting thing. And I was like, perfect, let's do it, you know what I mean? So, yeah. So
when you did sign up, what were your kind of expectations going into it? Was it more kind of thinking about the boxing, or was it more about the cause? Or did one take over the other kind of as you went along?
Yeah, I would say it was like this. Like, at first it was the cause for me, and then it became about the boxing. And then I was like, hey, remind yourself, why are you doing this, you know? Because it was sort of like, yeah, I want to be the best boxer. And then I was like, whoa. So like, you had to sort of take a step back and be like, why are you doing this? Cool. It's good that you want to improve, but also never forget why you did it in the first place. So it was like always reminding yourself, reality check, you know what I mean? Like, check yourself. Remember, it's not about you. It's like, yes, get better, learn new skills, stuff like that, but also remember, why'd you do it? Why'd you even step in? Why'd you even put your hand out? So, yeah, it was like a battle. Yeah. Just always checking yourself to make sure.
That's so true. I mean, I was just listening to Josh. That's exactly the roller coaster I was going on. Because as I said, you start off, and it's about that physical challenging yourself. And Josh is right. I mean, I know I've been through some hectic stuff in my past, and getting in the ring physically wasn't scary. Emotionally, it was scary, and the anxiety and that whole piece. But you're right, through the whole sort of training period, you've got to sort of remind yourself, because I think as human beings we get caught up in ourselves. It's natural to go, we want to be the best, and especially if you're a little bit competitive. But yeah, every now and then, and especially when you're sort of having a real crap day in the office, or you're having a crap day in the gym, you sort of go, hang on, it's not about you, mate. There's a bigger reason why you're here. And I think that humbled most of us in our experience. And I mean, I've walked away from this and I've made a real close group of new friends, you're almost brothers, and there's a bond there that's come through, you know, exactly what Josh and I are talking about. We're just all on the same page, you know, very humbled by this experience. It's exposed and you know, ripped open some raw nerves within each one of us. But one thing that really stood out for us is that we always seem to have this safety amongst ourselves, so that we were able to talk about it. I remember the first week on the training course, everybody sort of sussing each other out and going, yeah, he can hit hard, and you know, who's fitter, and you know, you're focusing on, you know, just trying to, I suppose, be the best person within the group. And I'd say halfway through, that had gone out the window. It was just everybody caring for everybody, motivating each other, you know, challenging each other, being there for each other, emotionally and physically. And you know, I think one of the biggest things we've all struggled with is, now that it's all over, we still want to be there with each other. Like we were spending 3 days a week with each other, and those 3 days a week, even though it was only an hour, it was an intense hour. And I think we just shared more than some physical activity. We shared some real personal experiences, and I don't think anything will ever break that. But there's definitely a yearning for more of it, and to spend more time with those guys. You know, it's been really special. And even now, I mean, it's how many weeks is it? 4 weeks past the fight, and we're all still actively talking about the cause and promoting it. In fact, I was talking to our CEO yesterday, going, I reckon as a business we need to jump on board here. It's such a good cause. And I think they saw me go through this journey and thought, well, hell, you know, it's got to be worth fighting for, excuse the pun.
And so just after the halfway point, they announced the fights.
Yeah.
What was that feeling, and did you watch the live announcement?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a chicken shit, because I actually I almost didn't want to get a fight, but I wanted to get a fight. Because yeah, you've worked so hard, but at the same time, I was thinking, well, actually, it won't be too bad if I don't get smashed in the ring. So it was one of those nervous moments. So I actually didn't watch it live. I thought I need to get myself mentally and emotionally prepared. So I waited until it was all over, and then I went back and went, okay. But even before I could go and watch the whole thing, the guys were texting, you got a fight. I'm like, damn, I got a fight. Okay. So yeah, and then they make a bloody app. and then there's an app, so now I can see the guy I'm fighting. I'm like, oh, I'm bugging. Now you can see me. And then you're sort of like, oh, I want to know what he's about, and you don't. There's only a little speech there that Josh put, which was really cool. Actually, it was really humbling. And I thought, oh, you know, he seems like a really nice guy. So he's a nice guy as well. That's making it really hard. Yeah. And then I mean, we had a mutual friend, Shane, and I bumped into Shane, and Shane and I were just chatting, and he was asking about his fight, and I said, well, how's Josh doing? He kept saying, Josh is such a good guy. And I'm like, I know, everybody's telling me this, making me feel really awful about what's up, you know?
To hate him.
Yeah, just trying to get angry with Josh, but there was no reason to get angry. It was, you know, we were both in there for the same reason, and yeah, I think you're right. Either win or lose on the night. I think mentally and emotionally, even if the result was the other way around, I would have walked out of there really proud of what we have done, because you just look around from that ring and you just saw, you know, 1,000 people there. We're paying, you know, top dollar to be there, and the money that we raised, 122,000. I mean, wow, that's massive. There's the victory, you know, there's the victory. And, you know, the fact that Josh and I are both evidence that you can go into that dark space when you're 15 or 16 or in your teens and still come out on top, and be sitting here to share that story is proof in the pudding that, you know, you just got to look for that support, and if you get it, and, you know, take it and run with it.
Was the same for you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, totally same. I just found like little funny moments, like, you know, I'm not the one to stare people down or, you know, like someone looks at me, my initial thing is, like I smile or pull facials and stuff. That's my automatic thing. So it was really weird when they're like, okay, this is your fighter, Brett. And I was like, yeah, cool, met there. And same thing, Shane was like, oh, Brett's a nice guy. And I was going, yeah, he seems a nice guy, so this is going to be really hard. So I felt like that was a cool skill to learn, was that, you know, you don't have to be angry.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to be like, "Urgh," so you fight each other and like that. It's just being professional. It's like, cool, we're going to match each other up. And yes, we're going to get physical with each other, but we can respect each other, you know what I mean? And yeah, so the funny moments for me was when they get us together and they're like, cool, stare each other down. I'm like, okay, I had to find something, like, be like, just look at him, but don't look at him. So I'm staring at him, like, trying to be tough, but instead I'm like, you look like an idiot. Like, so I'm like, you know? And then even like at the back, we had the moment just before we came out. So they brought me down out here, and I'm like, cool, you know, thinking they'll bring Brett down later. But they brought us down at the same time, so it was like this awkward moment, like, hey, and he was just like, yep, focus, and I was like, okay, I'm focused too. I was like, man, I don't do this, man. Usually I'm like, hey, bro, like, yes. But we're like not talking to each other, like, focus what we're gonna do. And I was like, okay, cool, I need to focus on the training and stuff like that. Then it's like, you go on first, and then it was just go time after that. But you know, just little random awkward moments. I was like, I'm not used to this, you know, but it's cool. But I'm glad that as soon as we got out of the way, we were backstage, I was like, whew, okay, I'm tired, I want a beer. And I just thought straight away, I gotta go see the bro, because I haven't spoke to him properly, you know? So I went around and I saw this guy and he was like, hey man, I was just like, you know, thanked him for the exchange. I was like, thanks for the bombs that you gave me and stuff. And yeah, it was just like, sweet. It was good, you know? It's good to finally, it was like a weight on your shoulder. And I was just like, phew, afterwards, you know? And yeah, and it was a great, like you said, a lot of money raised. I think it's the top, the most the organisation has raised. So that was good to hear, to be a part of that. And the atmosphere was awesome as well. The support of love and family and friends and colleagues. So yeah, definitely saying I would like for people to do, you know. It definitely makes you, tests you more, like obviously the training sucked, man. Like, it's like they killed us every time. But you know, it was good. But I feel like more for here as well, like the mental fights and the struggles within it is quite cool. And then you just have the support of all the boys and the girls and stuff of the team. And it was good. It was really awesome to see the blue team as well. You know, like seeing these guys, and now we're like one team. You know, we were separated, but now it's like together. So it's quite humbling, and it's a blessing. It's cool.
If you had one piece of advice for anyone who thought about doing this maybe next year or down the track, what would that be?
Don't hesitate. Just sign up. You know, I think we're all nervous. You know, press that button. Yeah, I'm going to sign up. And then, even in the beginning of the part of the journey, you're still anxious and nervous. But soon, all those boundaries and those walls fall away, and you're suddenly forming this bond with a group of people that you've never met before, and just, you know, becoming one unit. All those inhibitions and those fears fall away. So you might be nervous in the beginning, but trust me, by the end of it, you are, you know, you're more powerful than you were, you know, emotionally and mentally than when you first started. And you walk away with, you know, great group of friends like Josh and Paul, you know. Yeah, so do it for yourself, but do it for the cause at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth it. Like, and especially for the cause, like you like without even trying, you will gain something personally. Like, it will just happen automatically. But just to be a part of the cause, raising awareness, especially for our youth. I mean, I feel like that's where we need to help. You know, a lot of kids out there, like, you know, who have broken homes and things like that. I feel like we need to really step in, like, do what your bit in your community, no matter how small. Like, just get involved with things. It doesn't have to be ITHH hitters as well. You know, it could be just get out there and just help. You know, speak to people. And I like what Paul said in his last interview, which was, the bro was saying, you know, you can't help other people unless you help yourself first. So, and I'm a true believer in that. It's like, take care of this first here, and then you'll be able to change the world, you know. There's no point of trying to go out and help everyone, but you're not right, you know. So like I really dig what he's saying, and I'm a firm believer in that as well. So yeah, focus on this first, and if you're set, help out where you can.